Hey, what's up, y'all? Y'all know it's Pretty Girl Des with Pretty Girls Love Sports. And today I have a he's very special to me, guest coming on to talk about a special event. You know, I was super excited to do it last year, so I had to run it back. And we are going to do a nice, simple, but informative, fun interview really quick about the upcoming Alpha Derby weekend. I have with me none other than my fam, the infamous Mr. Author, Mr. Media Personality, super interviewer, just all things greatness with me. And I'm obviously going to let him introduce himself as I let all my guests do, but I just thought I had to sprinkle in a little something, something. So without further ado, let's go. Take it over, Mr. Author.
Well, what you do a tremendous job across the board. Thank you for that kind and welcome introduction, fam. Appreciate you big time, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Andrew Snorton, and as Des said, the hats I wear: published author, education related work, press and media work, and we're so excited to have Des back on board. This will be her second year serving as one of our correspondents for the Alpha Derby weekend presented by the Alphas of Atlanta. So let's go ahead and get to it.
Yeah, so thank you all for having me again. I think last year was just such a exciting but like in your face experience because it was my very first one. So now this one I feel like I'm a little bit in, I got my feet on the ground. I think I can do great things here. But this upcoming Alpha Derby weekend is special. It's a um something that's going to be bigger than ever. You guys grow each year. So talk to me a little bit about what Alpha Derby weekend is and how it has gotten to this point this year.
Yeah, great question. So the Alpha Derby weekend is a Kentucky Derby themed event hosted by the Alphas of Atlanta. The Alphas of Atlanta is a 501(c)(3), so it's a nonprofit, and it's made up of members of the graduate chapters that serve the Metro Atlanta area. So 2015 was our first year of doing the Alpha Derby weekend, again, a Kentucky Derby themed event. It started as a 2-day event, and in the very first year, we drew like 1,200 people. We were hoping for like maybe 500, 750. Thanks to like seriously wonderful people like you, wonderful people not only in Metro Atlanta, but a third of our guests from day one have traveled from outside the state of Georgia. That's where it all started. The next step was 2017. And because of feedback from attendees, that's how the Sunday brunch got added. And then for 2018, when we strengthened that kickoff party and concert with the presence of hip hop icon Dougie Fresh, it took us to another level. And then during the pandemic, when you were very limited in what you could do, that's when we incorporated the golf tournament. So in 2021, we just did the Derby event as a standalone with the golf tournament. And because of amazing people like you, your viewers, and what have you, the first year we did the golf tournament piece, we sold that out within 9 days. So fast forwarding to this year, 2025, May 1st through 4th, 2025, every year is a big year, but this year is definitely big because this is the 10th year of us doing our event. And the rundown is as follows. Friday, May 2nd, we have our golf tournament. It'll be at Chapel Hills Golf Course in Douglasville, where we've been the last few years. One positive is that at least a third of our golf teams are women. Let me reemphasize that. A third of our golf teams are women. So if there are women who enjoy playing golf, fellas, of course, if you enjoy playing golf, we definitely invite you and encourage you to be a part of that. Friday evening, May 2nd, is our kickoff party. We will be rolling out announcements regarding our performing artists probably by the first full week of April, but we'll be at the Delta Flight Museum. So, a great thing about that venue is free parking. So, that saves you a few coins right there. Saturday's main event will be May 3rd back at the Delta Flight Museum. We'll be indoor, outdoor. We were blessed last year to have Mayor Andre Dickens, the mayor of Atlanta, come. And like I said before, 1 out of 3 people who come to our event come from outside the state of Georgia, from cities like Chicago, Nashville, the QC, Charlotte, the DMV, the DC, Maryland, Virginia area, the tri-state, New York, New Jersey, Connecticut, pretty much from all over. In previous years, we've had people from the West Coast come, even from outside the U.S. So we're very blessed with all our support. And then we close out Sunday with the Sunday brunch at our host hotel, the Omni Atlanta. For the 21 and older, probably one of the best features is the bottomless mimosa. Look, we're both 21 and older, and we like features. And let's just be frank. We're having an adult conversation. But the beauty about the event is that the proceeds raised go to our nonprofit, and then we in turn provide smaller grants for different nonprofits throughout Metro Atlanta. So we're trying to make sure we leave a positive footprint throughout the area. And like I'll tell anyone, whether you come the entire weekend, you come one day, you come a couple of days, even if you can't come, you share it with someone who you feel can benefit from coming. And like I share with other people, if you have colleagues from out of town, make it that weekend for you to, come together. So we're thankful and grateful. We're excited to have you back on board. We're excited for all of our correspondents and just everybody joining us in the winner's circle.
Yeah, that was a lot of information thrown at one time, but understandable because there's a lot going on for that weekend, and rightfully so. So, starting off with the golf tournament, last year sold out event. I got to see a lot of women there. I actually interviewed quite a few women and built a relationship there with one of the ladies from She Golf Atlanta. So, about the golf tournament, what is the true significance of having it? I know you said you started during COVID when it was very limited, but now it has grown and it was so many people last year, so many great teams, a lot of different fraternity brothers out there supporting each other, especially with the alphas, a lot of different other companies, special vendors, sponsors, and everything. So it has grown. So, what is that? Significance of really that is the kickoff, to be honest. I know you have the kickoff party in the evening time, but for that to be your kickoff start, how is that significant?
Oh my goodness. Well, we know that golf is a game that really anyone can play, whether you're young, whether you've got a little bit of salt and pepper like I do. Where, and we also know an emerging audience are women. And when you think about who you mentioned before, ladies who golf and other golf clubs and golf entities, trying to make sure that these emerging audiences are a bigger part of that in and of itself is fun. And like you saw last year, probably about a third of our teams are women, and we're excited, we're thankful, we're grateful. We want more women to play. I'm just going to be transparent. It's great to have a game where anyone, regardless of your gender, regardless of your ethnic background, can come out and on a Friday morning to get your weekend started off like that. It's a great thing. And then, by the time you're done, hey, you can just kind of chill and coast the rest of the day. So it's a good way to get your weekend off to an early start. We definitely encourage, like I said, golfers of all levels, teams of all levels to definitely coming out. Of course, if you're a business, there's branding opportunities with the whole sponsors and others. So it's just a good way to set a positive tone. Then, of course, again, if you're 21 and older, the 19th hole is definitely a good place to network. I will just emphasize networking. Absolutely.
So the kickoff party is moving. It was at the Omnia last year. So we're moving it to the Delta Flight Museum. What was that change, or why was that a significant change to just have both events at the same place back to back?
I think just, logistically speaking, like we know that we were already locked into the Omni Atlanta for our host hotel. And part of it, honestly, was from the feedback that we got. Like after every event, after every derby, for any of the people who purchase tickets, we'll send an email survey out. And we do read each and every one. So we got somewhere between 300 to 400 surveys back. And one of the things that was glowing was the venue, the Delta Flight Museum. Last year, for a lot of people, that was their first time going. And I think because you have adequate space, you're able to move. Like I said, Saturday, indoor, outdoor. But then, of course, that parking piece, that's something that people, mentioned. So by being able to do both the Friday night and the Saturday at the same venue. Now people are building familiarity. You're not having to pay for parking. So that kind of, takes care of a logistical issue. And we've been very fortunate with the people at the Delta Flight Museum have been really, helpful. So we're excited to be back there, and just excited to just set a great tone. And now people, instead of having to dart kind of all over the place, we're making it as concise as possible. So the only real major movement that you have to do is really going to be Sunday for the brunch. And then for people who are staying at the host hotel, it's like, check out, leave your bag in holding, go ahead and get you a meal, go ahead and get you a few mimosas, get your bag and leave when you're done.
How would you all say you keep the cultural authenticity as you are scaling this event? Obviously, Fraternity, Alphas of Atlanta, super important, but just from a cultural standpoint.
That's a great question. A number of people don't realize the initial Kentucky Derbies were basically dominated by black jockeys. A lot of people aren't aware of that. So, by the fact that we're doing a Derby themed event, we're actually paying homage to the folks who actually got the Derby started. The second thing is, yes, we are members of Alpha, but this is for the public. And part of what we're supposed to do is do social events are great, have the networking, have the bond building, but it's about having a bigger purpose. And when we're able to contribute to nonprofits who are doing male mentoring programs, scholarship programs, college tours, co-ed leadership development, community engagement, we have fun with what we do. Don't get me wrong, we have a nice time, we work hard, but the reason why we're having a nice time and working hard is we're working smart. And the reason that we're working smart is, what is the underlying purpose? And anyone can throw a party. Seriously, anyone can throw a party, but to be able to, again, do so in an effort to leave a footprint in different parts of the metro area and giving back to programs that are partially responsible for why we're doing what we're doing. Almost all of us, to varying degrees, did a male mentoring program, did a college tour. We got scholarships from outside organizations, 501c3s, or people who were just engaged with the community. So if we can use a signature event like this to draw positive attention, and like I said earlier, and you saw last year, we had government officials there, from the mayor of Atlanta to people who were county commissioners, things along those lines. So that's reminding us of the civic duty that we have. And regardless of anyone's fraternity ties, sorority ties, that bigger purpose is doing some level of stewardship and service, because just like someone did that for you to help you out, the best way to say thank you is to do what you can in a similar manner. So if this event can draw the visibility for the types of things that we need to invest in, we're going to continue to do it. And that, ties in, like I said, with the historical culture of the Kentucky Derby, with the contemporary culture of having a good space in place for people to come out, have a nice time, be amongst people where you kind of get uplifted and encouraged, because there's people either doing something constructive or making concerted efforts to do something constructive. All of you guys who serve as our correspondents, who help our narrative and amplify our story, so that way, even if people don't come, they see, and now they're like, wait a minute, if they're doing this type of thing, in principle, what type of thing could we do to give back to our communities? So it comes back full circle. It really does.
Extending from that question, and again, you all are scaling and you have scaled each year. So just say in 5 years, what would be the vision when you get to milestone 15 of this Alpha Derby weekend?
That's a great question, because, like you just pointed out, you have to look at the present and look to the future. I would hope that in 5 years from now, we continue to grow to where we expand that grant program. We are making steps in the right direction. I'd love for us to be able to be, because of this event and because of other related events, that we can kind of be one of those community hubs or go-tos where people have a realistic chance of applying. If you're doing something constructive in your community and you're a 501c3, we want to see what we can do to give as reasonable an opportunity for you to leave a positive footprint. So with you leaving a positive footprint, it's helping us leave a bigger positive footprint. That's where I'd really love it to see it go. But I think part of what's going to help us having interviews like we're doing right now, getting that survey feedback from people who come, just those types of things. We have an idea, but there's some things that our audience sees that we don't see. And like I shared earlier, that's how the Sunday brunch came about. That didn't come from us. That came from the audience. So if the audience knows that, hey, your feedback is going to be read, we're going to take it under consideration. If it's something that we can do right and something that we can do effectively, we're going to be open to seeing, hey, can we incorporate this? Because we just don't want to do something for the sake of doing it. We just don't want to, it's like we just don't want to slap something together. We want to make sure if we build something, it's sustainable. So, yeah, I know I kind of went roundabout, but I'd say the biggest thing is being able to continue to draw the people, continue to share what we're doing, and continue to strengthen that grant piece because that will be community changing and legacy building. And that's ultimately where I hope to see it. And I think if you talk with a lot of our committee members, that's where they hope to see it too.
A few more questions. Earlier in the interview, you spoke about what you all do for your community. So, based off of last year's success, just to name a few, what impact or what have you all done for Alphas of Atlanta to give back to the Atlanta community?
Great question. When you visit our website of alphaderbyweekend.com and you click on the menu for nonprofits, we have a listing of the nonprofits that we've donated to. And again, like I said before, we're off to a good start, but we're not satisfied and complacent with being off to a good start. We know that there are other nonprofits, big, small, and in between, that are making an honest effort to do what they can to impact and effectuate change in their communities, whether it's through the lens of education, whether it's through the lens of the creative arts, whether it's through the lens of STEM, which is still tied in with those, health and wellness. So we know those are key areas, for the community in general. So we know that if there are 501c3s that are doing programming along those lines, those are things that we know are going to help so much. You hear the word holistic. All that is looking at the physical, mental, to varying degrees of spiritual, things along those lines. So we are, like I said, we're off to a good start. You can see who we've donated to and see the types of programs that they do, but we just don't want to stop there. We're excited with our start, but we're not satisfied with our start.
Absolutely. Fun question now. What is your favorite event of the entire weekend? Outside of the end, because I know you guys work really, really hard and you're like bustling and hustling the entire weekend. But we talked about having fun, partying with a purpose, because you didn't say that this year, partying with a purpose.
Yeah.
What is your favorite event or time or part of the entire weekend?
Oh gosh, that's a good question. I'll say every event has its own significance, and I'm going to say that. But if there's one part that stands out, I'd say Saturday stands out. I think the reason why Saturday stands out is you see everybody dressed to the nines. It is such a refreshing atmosphere, whether you step outdoors, and for the cigar aficionados, you've got the option to do that. If you're just trying to chill and enjoy, just enjoy and we've been blessed with great weather every year. I think only one year, 2019, it rained like 30 minutes before we started, and then it cleared out, and then it rained like the last 15 minutes. We've been blessed to have good weather each year. But from a day to day, I would say definitely Saturday is my favorite time. And just seeing people that you weren't expecting to see, that you're happy to see. Seriously, you weren't expecting to see them, but you're happy to see them. And just like I said, the indoor outdoor vibe is just great. Now, historically, I would say historically, my favorite ones, definitely the very first one, because we were just hoping for the best and we were very blessed with how that evolved. And I'll definitely say 2018 when Dougie Fresh performed. That just kind of took us to another level. I think people were shocked. I was surprised too. It's like, oh wait, we got him. But but like I said, every year we're able to do this because everybody who starts an event, it doesn't always last. So the fact that we're at year 10 means we're doing more things right. And because we balance what we see, the survey data, all that type of thing. We're on the right path and we're on the right track. And like I said before, and I'll say it again, I'm thankful and grateful to everybody, whether you come for one day, you share the information with someone who comes, you're like, dag, I should have been there. And you come the next year, all that type of thing. We're grateful to everybody because if we don't have that larger support, we don't do what we're doing to this level. And anyone that tells you different needs to have a sit down somewhere. We can't do what we're doing if people don't see the merit and value. They see the effort. They see if we're making mistakes. We're making mistakes because we're trying to get it right. And that's another thing. There are livable mistakes, and we're thankful that people see our livable mistakes of they're trying to get it right. Here's a suggestion to help them get it right. We're those that's positive, and constructive. So just being thankful, grateful, working hard, working smart, keeping it centered, keeping it balanced, and we're hopeful. Just like we've seen growth every year, we hope to continue to see it down the road, and that's what we're going to work towards. That's what we're going to work towards.
How would you want the media to represent this event into the public? Because again, you said it's a public event. Obviously, you get more fraternity and sorority support as you should. But how do you want this media piece, all of us, the correspondents, to really represent the Alpha Derby weekend to put it out into the universe?
Well, I think with what you're doing now, you're sharing, yes, there is a fraternity and sorority tangent to it, but that's just not it. And I think what sometimes happens is people kind of go with that one direction, but they forget it's wide ranging. Like I've said before, when you can get just look at our audience, 1 out of 3 are traveling from outside the state of Georgia. And I can guarantee you every 1 out of 3 is not a member of fraternity or sorority. Historically speaking, I've had family members who live in Kentucky that have bypassed going to Louisville. That says a lot. I have family members that live, let's say, in Indianapolis, which is like maybe a 2-hour drive, or Chicago, and they will come here. And they're not a member of any D9 organization. So I think, like there's a saying, you can walk and chew gum at the same time. We welcome our entire D9 to be a part of what we're doing. But we also know we extend an equal welcome to people who are not. If you like golf, come on out and do the golf tournament. If you just want to have a kickback for Friday night to get out the house, we want you to constructively come. You know that you've been working out during the winter, and you're just trying to give a preview of your summertime fine. You know exactly what I'm talking about. Come out and do that for Saturday. Or you want to go ahead and do brunch on Sunday and don't want to be in the usual spot, hey, my brunch ticket is helping them do something constructive, and I can get bottomless mimosas. Of course, we want to do it in moderation, but you've got that. You can do that. And so you're not limited to whether you're a member of the Divine Nine or look, we welcome our Divine Nine, our HBCU, our PWI, our GED, our kind and decency. So if you fit any of those, then we want you here. Because as you saw, we're about having fun, but making sure we're doing so in as mature a setting as possible. And people, like I said, you are having a party with a purpose.
I see it, party with the purpose. Ending this off, we have to tell the people, how do they get in contact with you all? How do they purchase tickets if they want to get sponsorships for their businesses? Any way to be involved. As we said, we're spreading the word, we're spreading the message, and really pushing the event. So let's end off with that, telling people how they can actually do those things.
Sure. The first thing is visit our website, which is alphaderbyweekend.com. Again, alphaderbyweekend.com. And what I encourage people to do is before you purchase anything, when you go on the website, click on the gallery. So when you click on the gallery, we have all the photos from the golf tournament last year, the kickoff party last year, the main event last year, and the Sunday brunch. So when you go to alphaderbyweekend.com and click on the gallery, that gives you a pretty good context. On the website, alphaderbyweekend.com, click on the menu for tickets. When you click on the menu for tickets, the very first line items will be all the sponsor levels. So you continue to scroll down. You can get your weekend, whether it's general admission or VIP for the weekend, your VIP only for Saturday, or you can do a la carte. So you can do the whole weekend, but if you know logistically you can't do the whole weekend, you can get individual day tickets. I would also encourage, for those of you that are on social media, if you add Alphas of Atlanta, again, Alphas of Atlanta on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, as well as Vimeo, Vimeo, that will give you some updates and points of reference. Another piece you can go to, Alpha underscore Derby. Again, Alpha underscore Derby on Instagram and Twitter. So that way, if you're more of a social media person, you can check out the updates there. And if you want to email us questions, the best bet will be info@alphaderbyparty.com. Again, info@alphaderbyparty.com. That's for just general questions. And if you have media related questions, media@alphaderbyparty.com. Again, media@alphaderby.com. And then the last thing regarding branding and sponsorships, those packages start at $250. And we were very intentional with that because we know a lot of times smaller businesses get cut out of events like this because it's out of their budget. So you know that if you're able to do starting at $250, you're going to get exposure not only with the event, but on the website, social media, email. You know you can recoup that $250 and you can write it off at the end of the year. So when you go to sponsor at alphaderbyparty.com, again, sponsor at alphaderbyparty.com, you can email your questions. And of course, on the website, there is a section for sponsor where you can look at the sponsor kit and go ahead and go from there.
Perfect. Wonderful. So full blown interview. You know where to go. You know what it's about. You know what they do. And you know that they're partying with a purpose. So thank you so much. I really, really appreciate just you coming on here, really highlighting and showcasing what the Alphas of Atlanta have been doing for the community. I look forward to the event, and I hope you're also looking forward to the event. You're probably looking forward to be over. You're probably like, oh my gosh, I'm so tired. I'm ready to be done. But it's almost here, and I'm super excited about it. So again, thank you so much for coming on the show today.
I want to just close out with this. First off, thank you for allowing us to be on your platform. That does not go lightly. And like I said, it's always a great time to talk with you. You ask some great questions that keep us on our toes, but it reminds us, hey, if we're going to walk in this path, these are things that we have to be prepared for. So you help us. Like they say, iron sharpens iron. You help us stay sharp. So thank you. Again, to your audience, hey, sports themed, Kentucky Derby theme party. You have your sports elements with the golf tournament and, of course, the actual race, but come for the other stuff too. And like I said before, and I'll say it again, we're thankful and grateful to everybody who's liking, sharing, reposting. Obviously, please support the media outlet with, Pretty Girls Love Sports, who does tremendous work across the board. We see you. Don't always say we see you. We see you. And hey, join us in the Winner's Circle the first weekend of May 1st through 4th, 2025, for the Alpha Derby weekend by the Alphas of Atlanta. So all of you take good care. Look forward to seeing you in a few weeks.
Absolutely.
Baby girl, you are so pretty, 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 pretty. Baby girl.